installment of Risen Fly Fishing here on YouTube. I'm here with Chris. Hey, Chris.
Hey.
And we are in the middle of a lake in Pennsylvania. That's about as much info as we'll get, right?
Yep. It's wet.
It's wet. We got a 6 to 15% chance of rain today, and it's been raining on us for about an hour and a half so far. But Chris actually helps out in the shop a little bit, teaches some classes. He is what I call our local pike and musky expert, because nobody else in the shop really fishes that much for him, and Chris does pretty extensively. So he's here today to get me into some of those fish. So this lake we're in today, it's got both pike and musky as well as smallmouth and largemouth. We'll hopefully be able to get into a bunch of all of those. So stay tuned today, and before we move forward, make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hopefully cross your fingers that we'll get into a good amount of fish today. Okay, we got our first stop here. Chris is rigging up. So today, Chris has got, we'll blur out the image of Chris's rod that he's using today. But I've got our Goliath in an 8-weight, and then the whale in a 7.9. We've got a couple rigged up, you can see here in the boat too. Other rods with up to 10 weights, sinking lines, intermediate lines, and floaters. So hopefully we'll get some fish here. Yeah. Out here there's another local place that's chock full of them. Yeah.
All day, brother. Finally.
Nice. Well done.
Oh, man.
Well done.
I saw that one too.
Yeah?
All right, I'll handle him. Here's what I do. You back up.
Mm-hmm.
I'll set this fish in that. There it is. Oh, man. Finally.
Yeah, came into 2 in a row.
Oh,
solid fish. Right here. Nice. Very well done. Nice. Yep. Well done. Well done. Nice, Chris. Think an M word? Uh-huh. I wasn't gonna say it. Uh-huh. No, not tail first. Yeah. Let's go, baby. Nice fish. Woo! Let's freaking go. Oh man. Yeah, yep. $37.5, 38. Let's get a photo. I just did a video. Fantastic. Attaboy.
We went fishing?
This is a couple weeks ago. Okay. Hey everyone, we're just going to do a little recap. This is actually a little bit after the trip, so hopefully Chris and I can remember everything that happened. Because it was getting dark, we had to drop the boat off and do a couple other things because Chris had some other guys he was actually taking fishing later that day. But just a recap of that. So this was, Chris has helped out in the shop, I don't know, pushing since late last summer, something like that, here and there. And his expertise compared to everybody else here is the toothy critters. So he said he's going to get me out at some point. I casted and casted and casted all day, and he was the one who caught all the fish. But it was a great trip for me. I learned a lot. So I think as you're looking back on this footage here, you can see me just casting and Chris catching all the fish. But that's kind of a day on the water. So we want to talk a little bit on the outro of this video of just some things that you want to be ready for the next time that you're going out looking for pike and muskie. One of the things that I learned is kind of just like everything else. You know, you want to keep looking for different habitat types until something works. You know, you might be trout fishing and all the action's in the fast water and not in the deep pools, or vice versa, or streamers are working and nymphs aren't. But I think the big thing for us is we tried a lot of different things in a lot of different spaces, and then we found this sweet window in the middle of the afternoon where we found a little bit of action on a specific type of, let's see, I don't know, water depth transition, something like that. So for me, it was great just kind of figuring it out. Our weather changed throughout the day. We got there in the morning and it was cloudy and dreary and raining, and by the end we got sunburnt. So we had quite a change there, and I think that kind of affected our fishing too. For me, double hauling an 8 to a 12 or 8 to a 10 weight, I don't think either of us had a 12 weight that day. All day long was definitely difficult. I could probably do it again, but the day after, Chris does it all the time, but it's just different compared to, I was dry fly fishing a couple days ago, so just a whole different technique that you got to be used to and have a lot more muscle memory in getting back into that. But I had a great time. I'm sure we'll do it again in the fall. Just see a little bit different as the weather is cooling down rather than warming up like we're seeing springtime. And hopefully we'll have another video out for you then. But Chris can kind of take it from here, a little bit of recap of kind of what he saw as more of the resident expert on this subject and where we saw success and how he landed a couple fish and I just netted them.
Someone's got to net them.
Right.
Well, it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, so we're going to have to dial it back a hair. But met Ryan at, what, 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
It was still kind of drizzly. I was calling for it to get real windy in the afternoon and clear up We definitely were on different types of water. We fished shallow weed flats. We fished over some rocky points. We fished 20 feet clear open water looking for suspended bait fish. There was a major coming in at a certain hour where the wind was going to be changing to more of a northwest, where we had a brief window we'd be able to hop on a spot that was coming off a big weed flat, and it would drop off into 20 feet. And those fish kind of like to hang on that 11 to 15 foot. That we knew we were seeing bait on the screen throughout the day. It was just a matter of what we could do to change our luck, whether it was our stripping cadence, different locations on the lake, depth. We saw bass throughout the day up real shallow, but they were probably still spawning and not really interested in what we were doing. We hooked a nice pike, landed an okay pike, and then we put a musky in the boat. All within 45 minutes. Yeah. So those days where the weather isn't cooperating, the wind isn't cooperating, those bite windows, if you follow the majors and the minors, really come into play when nothing else is working, or we're completely fooled by randomness, and those were 3 fish that wanted to eat. In an 8-hour day, they ate within 45 minutes, so you never know.
Yeah, for me, like, compared to stream fishing almost everything, going into a lake, and especially having somebody who knew that lake very well, growing up fishing it, and, you know, knowing all the points and where everything is there was key. Where if I had just rented a boat and thrown some gear in there, you know, knowing where the wind is coming out of, and this section is better than that section, depending on where the weather is, like, I would have been completely clueless. So it's always great. You know, Chris calls these like Make-A-Wish trips. I took him Make-A-Wish dove hunting in the fall, and he paid me back with a Make-A-Wish where he catches all the fish. Sure, but I think you shot all the doves that day anyways either. But but it was great. You know, it was, for me, it was just like baptism by fire. Like, okay, we're gonna get in here, we're gonna do all this stuff. Like, just hang on for the ride, and you'll learn a bunch along the way. So I appreciated that, and it was awesome just to figure it all out. So, you know, figuring out not only just casting all day long, but okay, we're gonna fish an intermediate line, and we're gonna wait a couple seconds before you're stripping in, or we're gonna fish poppers over here, or smaller flies in this section, bigger flies over there. So it was just nice going with somebody. I think that's kind of the great thing about fly fishing is, you know, we teach a lot of classes here, and it's like, okay, here's the general scope of what fly fishing is. And then you can go deep down the rabbit hole in any section. You can be like, okay, I'm going to learn the entomology of bugs and know every last, you know, Latin term for them all, and then tie all my flies specific with gills on these ones, and 2 tails on this, and 3 tails on that. Or you can do something like this, like, oh, I'm heavy into the warm water fishing, and I want to go after predator fish, or saltwater fish, or whatever else. That I thought this was a great way to kind of introduce some of our channel here of, you know, everybody wants to fly fish for trout, but once you understand that the gear has drastically changed over the last couple decades to be able to saltwater fish, go after fish like this, and do it efficiently even, is pretty awesome. So teaming up with somebody who has a lot more experience in that to lessen the learning curve and rather than figuring it out on your own is a lot better than, you know, yeah, YouTube is great. You can watch videos like this, you can read books, you can walk into your local fly shop, but firsthand knowledge is key. So if you are interested in doing something like this, I know Chris does like a local tri-state musky Facebook page, like just on musky and pike stuff. So there's a lot of great resources out there for stuff like that too. So if you're looking for something specific, go look for some of those groups online, you know, hop onto some local forums and things like that, and you can start asking some questions and maybe hook up with somebody like Chris to be able to take you out and kind of teach you the ropes a little bit easier than you figuring it out on your own. But that was it. We had a great day. I hope that we can do it again in the fall and maybe hit some bigger rivers too, as well as some lakes, and show you guys something a little bit different then too. But we hope you guys like this. And speaking of that, make sure you like this this video itself. Subscribe to our channel. We've got some other great stuff coming up here pretty soon. So make sure that when you do subscribe, you hit that bell notification so that we see you guys here in the near future. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week for another video.